Between you people, don't talk to me that way. You're just a lightweight. Don't talk to me that way. Don't talk to. I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way. Go ahead, take the. Well, I'll give you voters. I will give you voter suppression. You just have to sit down, please. Sit down. I didn't call you. I didn't call you. Okay.
Challenge you on one of the statements that you made in the tail end of the campaign in the midterms.
Here we go.
If you don't mind, Mr. President, that this caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr. President,
I consider it to be an invasion.
As you know, Mr. President, the caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling me
that. Why did you characterize it as such?
Because I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think that you demonized immigrants in this election to try to keep...
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in, Jim, through a process. I want it to be a process, and I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your campaign...
Wait. You know why we need the people, don't you? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need the people.
But your campaign had an ad showing migrants climbing over walls and so on.
That's true. But they weren't actors.
They're not going to be doing that.
They weren't actors. Well, no, it's true. Do you think they were actors? They weren't actors. They didn't come from Hollywood. Right. These were people. This was an actual... You know, it happened a few days ago. And
they're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN. Right. And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
that's enough.
Ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am.
Mr. President, that's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other question, if I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have...
I'm not concerned about anything with the Russian investigation because it's a hoax. That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation? Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead.
Peter, go ahead. In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts his butt.
Well, I'm not a big fan of yours either, so
I understand.
To be honest.
So let me ask you a question if I can. You repeatedly said...
You aren't the best.
Mr. President, you repeatedly, over the course of...
just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President, over the course of the last several days of the campaign, sir.
The confrontation between Donald Trump and CNN's Jim Acosta years ago was not just a clash of personalities. It was a preview of a larger battle between Trump and the mainstream media. In that exchange, Trump dismissed the reporter's framing of the migrant caravan as not an invasion, insisting instead that it was exactly that. What seemed like a heated moment has, over time, come to symbolize Trump's broader critique of the press, that much of the mainstream media, particularly left-leaning outlets, distort reality, weaponize narratives, and act less like watchdogs of power and more like partisan actors. By 2025 and into 2026, Trump's exposure of the media has become sharper, more direct, and increasingly validated by unfolding events. The press, which once prided itself on objectivity, has been repeatedly caught in contradictions, selective reporting, and outright misinformation. Trump's claim that CNN and other outlets were fake news was initially dismissed as rhetoric, but the years since have revealed a pattern of bias that undermines their credibility.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure. She's shocked that I picked her.
No.
She's like in a state of shock.
I'm not thinking, Mr.
That's
President.
okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. How many cases were in the United States when I did my ban? How many people had died in the United States?
So do you acknowledge that you didn't think...
Keep your voice down, please. Keep your voice down.
Do you want him to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
I'm Olivia, and I'll be with you for the rest of the video. Don't forget to subscribe and stick around until the end. I promise you'll enjoy the show. Take the coverage of the Epstein files in 2025, when documents surfaced implicating powerful figures across politics, business, and entertainment. Mainstream outlets scrambled to downplay connections that might embarrass their favored political allies. Trump, whose name appeared in the files without direct accusations, was immediately thrust into headlines, while other figures with deeper ties were given softer treatment. This selective outrage exposed the media's double standard: amplify anything that can damage Trump, minimize anything that might harm their own ideological allies. The same pattern emerged in economic reporting. Trump's tariffs, central to his nationalist economic agenda, were portrayed by left-leaning outlets as reckless and destructive. Yet, when data showed that certain industries were benefiting or that negotiations with foreign governments had forced concessions, those stories were buried or reframed to emphasize negatives. The narrative was clear. Trump's policies must always be cast as failures, regardless of evidence.
You're so disgraceful. It's so disgraceful the way you say that. Look. You know you're a fake. You know that. Your whole network, the way you cover it, is fake. And most of you, and not all of you, but the people are wise to you. That's why you have a lower approval rating than you've ever had before, times probably 3.
What do you say the Americans were scared, though? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say. Go ahead.
You've said repeatedly that you think that some of the equipment that governors are requesting they don't actually need. You said New York might not need 30,000. You said it on Sean Hannity's Fox News. You said
you know,
that
why don't you people act? Let me ask you.
You said
why don't you act in a little more positive? It's always trying to
My
get
question to you is,
get you. And you know what? That's why nobody trusts the media anymore.
My
That's
question
why
to you is,
people,
how is that going to
excuse
impact?
me, you didn't hear me. That's why you used to work for the Times and now you work for somebody else. Look, let me tell you something. Be nice. Don't
Mr.
be
President, my
threatening.
question
Don't
is-
be threatening. Let's give it a shot.
Governor Cuomo, as you played in that clip, has indeed praised a lot of what the federal government has done, but he...
Excuse me. He didn't say a lot. He said we did a phenomenal job. He didn't say a lot. He didn't say you did a good job on ventilators but nothing else. No, he said we did a phenomenal job. So report accurately, because you are one of the...
By 2026, as the Supreme Court prepared to rule on the legality of those tariffs, the media's coverage was less about the constitutional questions and more about framing Trump as an authoritarian figure. Trump's exposure of the media also extends to their treatment of immigration. The caravan debate was a perfect example. Reporters insisted it was not an invasion, framing Trump's language as fear-mongering. Yet subsequent years saw surges at the border, overwhelmed facilities, and rising concerns about security. The media's insistence on minimizing these realities revealed their bias, protecting a narrative that immigration was only a humanitarian issue while ignoring the strain on resources and the legal complexities. Trump's blunt framing may have been controversial, but it was rooted in concerns that the press refused to acknowledge. The Russia investigation, which Trump repeatedly called a hoax, further exposed the media's role in amplifying unverified claims. For years, outlets ran stories suggesting collusion, often based on anonymous sources or speculative leaks. By 2025, with multiple investigations discredited or collapsed, the press had little to show for years of breathless coverage. Trump's insistence that it was a hoax proved prescient, and the media's credibility took another hit. The reporters who had built careers on the Russia narrative were left exposed, their work revealed as partisan speculation rather than journalism. In 2026, as midterms approach, Trump has sharpened his critique of the press by pointing to their role in shaping public perception. He argues that the media is not simply reporting events, but actively trying to engineer outcomes. Coverage of government spending disputes, for example, often frames Republicans as obstructionists, while portraying Democrats as defenders of stability. Yet the reality is more complex, with both sides contributing to dysfunction. Trump's exposure of this selective framing resonates with his supporters, who see the press as an extension of the opposition party rather than an independent institution. The ballroom construction scandal is another case study. When Trump was accused of misusing funds for a lavish project, the story dominated headlines. Yet, when similar scandals emerged involving Democratic figures, coverage was muted or buried. This asymmetry exposes the media's priorities. Trump must always be the villain, while others are shielded. Trump's critique of fake news is not just about inaccuracies, but about the deliberate imbalance in coverage. Trump's exposure of reporters also extends to their personal conduct. In the Acosta exchange, he accused the reporter of being rude and disrespectful, not just to him, but to others in the administration. This was not a mere insult, but a broader critique of how some journalists approach their work, more interested in confrontation and spectacle than in substance. In 2025 and 2026, this critique has gained traction as public trust in the media continues to decline. Surveys show that large segments of the population believe the press is biased, agenda-driven, and untrustworthy. Trump's attacks, once seen as extreme, now resonate with a public increasingly skeptical of mainstream outlets. The raw truth is that Trump has exposed the media as partisan actors masquerading as neutral observers. Their selective outrage, biased framing, and willingness to amplify unverified claims reveal a deeper problem: the erosion of journalistic integrity. Trump's blunt language, calling them enemies of the people, may be controversial, but it reflects a frustration shared by millions who feel misrepresented by the press. The confrontation with Acosta foreshadowed this trajectory. Trump's refusal to accept the reporter's framing, his insistence on defining the narrative himself, and his attacks on the press were not isolated incidents, but part of a broader strategy to expose their bias. In 2025 and 2026, that strategy has been vindicated by events: the Epstein files, the collapse of the Russia narrative, the selective coverage of economic policies, and the asymmetry in scandal reporting. Trump's exposure of the media is not about silencing critics, but about revealing their role as partisan players. The press, once trusted to hold power accountable, has become entangled in ideological battles, sacrificing credibility in the process. Trump's critique, sharpened by years of confrontation, exposes the reality. The mainstream media is less a watchdog of democracy and more a weapon of partisan politics.